All right, welcome to another episode from the Chart Readers. We are doing the major market analysis videos starting with NASDAQ and QQQ. Real quick, what are we going to do today? Same thing we always do, right? We'll take a look at the daily and the weekly, not the hourly, sorry, to see how things are setting up short term. We have these 5 moving averages. There's only 2, but there are these horizontal support and resistance lines I do draw manually myself. And then when we're done up here, we'll use the MACD, RSI, and volume as our lower indicators. Hey, really quickly, if you can please like and subscribe. It does really well with the YouTube algorithms. Nonetheless, I sincerely appreciate your time, and I'm very glad you're here. I normally say this at the end, but if you disagree with anything, throw it in the comments. Like, I'm not here pretending I'm all knowing or perfect. If you're right, I would much rather you tell me in the comments than my money get lost in the market. You know what I mean? So where it's a two-way street. So let's get into the details. What are we looking at? Look, obviously January was a beautiful, beautiful month, right? Break the 8, break the 20, break the 50, get over the death line, break the 100, and actually break the 200, right? And in the process, all we're doing is just bouncing on the 8, just again, it's a beautiful thing, right? We literally take it all the way up to my horizontal resistance, right? And I've had these two same lines since June of last year. I've obviously talked about other numbers, but I've never drawn any other ones because I sincerely believed this was the channel that mattered, right? I literally created it somewhere around here. And yeah, it's still what's happening, right? So yeah, I was surprised it broke the 200, honestly, because again, I'm just zooming out real quick. It's been a full year since we'd been over it, and there was really no test, right? You can see on this 100 right here, you literally get super close to it but fail. Then you're able to get over it again and fail, get over it again and fail, then a couple more tests before you actually break it, right? I was very surprised that didn't happen on the 200. I expected something like this right here. Because look, that moment right there was more of a test of the 100 itself than the 200, right? So I kind of thought we would touch it, come down, touch it, come down, then break. Not break in one go, you know what I mean? So just a couple thoughts there. But where are we now? Look, we've clearly lost the 8, and we've actually lost the 8 for the first time in a good while. Not only that, because we've obviously lost it here, we've lost the 8 with a second day confirmation. Because even this day under, the next day immediately shot up and actually broke a number of moving averages, right? So these two are completely different than these two, okay? The one thing, look, I never really talk about shapes of candles. I'm not a candle shape trader, but I always highlight the doji. Okay, and this is almost a perfect textbook doji right there, right? Wick on top, almost an even wick down, and then pretty much a straight single line right in the middle. Okay, the doji represents uncertainty. Okay, the market is just not sure, and they're literally waiting for the move. Like this, whenever I say wait for confirmation, that is sincerely what I believe is happening here. There was a horrible break of the 8. And honestly, people just weren't sure if the 8 was going to do what it does a lot and bring it back up. They weren't sure if we were going to actually lose both lines, right? I mean, there's a lot to be unsure about right here, because let's come down here a little bit, right? Let me zoom out. It's a little easier to see. That's a real nice uptrend. Not only is it an uptrend, as it's uptrending, the green is well over the red with no moments of like, is it going to go under, right? RSI is a little tight, but if you look, there's actually a decent uptrend here as well, right? Then it kind of starts to go flat, and now it's kind of starting to go down. This is definitely starting to go under and down, right? So these two looking bad has me worried. Volume the last, 6 days has been ugly. Only one day out of the 6. I mean, come on, that's ugly, right? So volume is bad, RSI is bad, MACD is bad. We're under the 8 moving average. We literally only have a couple things to check on this, and when all the checks are bad, you can't just stare at the screen and hope, right? Like that's what technical analysis is supposed to do. It's supposed to take a little of that I wish emotion away and just kind of say, hey, look, there's a lot of signs that are bad, right? And I will be very honest. I'm not sure if we're going to bounce on this 20. Okay, so generally when I when I do my charting, right, you want to be over the 8 and the 20 because you can see how hard it is to get over the 20. That's supposed to be the opposite right here. It's supposed to be really hard to get under the 8 and get under the 20, right? It just really seems like, and the funny thing is we haven't even used the 20 as a bounce point. But I think this should have been a different candle if we were gonna bounce on the 20. And what I also really don't like is both lines, really all the lines. Let's not say all the lines because these ones haven't done much. But the 8 and the 20 are no longer kind of screaming we're still going up. Okay, they're definitely starting to turn, and I can very see I could see that happening, right? A deeper curve down. So honestly, I'm not sure if we're holding 11.5. You know what I mean? I almost feel like we're gonna close at 11.425, give or take, like under this, well before. Well, and I always say, look, it's hard to lose two lines, right? So if we actually do lose both lines, and that's kind of what I'm implying here, it could be a really devastating hit for tech, especially since we're looking at NASDAQ, right? I will be doing the S&P 500 and Dow Jones video as well, so I haven't seen those yet. I'm imagining they're about to look the same. Let's just flash it real quick. SP 500, what do you look like? Same thing. Look at that. That's not good. DJ 30. Let's just flash it real quick. Oh man, a little different, and I'll talk about that one on the Dow Jones chart. But yeah, again, I'm at least not happy with that chart, right? But Nasdaq and S&P 500 looking exactly the same. I don't think we're bouncing on the 20. I don't think we're bouncing on the 200 because again, let me just zoom back out, right? Generally, that first break is a real quick fall. It's funny that one actually recovered a little bit before the hard fall, but yeah, this is literally the first time in a year we've used the 200. You cannot expect the 200 to bounce, right? I'm being real. It's the 20 that might bounce, and if it doesn't, like I said, I see it being a quick drop below the 2. From there, do I think we'll go below these two? I actually don't. This really should not go under the death line, and that's huge, okay? Because hopefully let me just draw a couple trend lines real quick. That is what January looked like, right? I'll just do it right there. It basically hits that, and you can see we've now lost the line. I don't mind if we come down here and do that, okay? So obviously the uptrend is getting lower, and that's not necessarily a good thing, but hey, that's still an uptrend, and it really looks like it should not. Look, I don't want to go under the death line, right? For me, that's a little scarier. So I would love to hold the 200, but if we can bounce on this, there's a little bit more likelihood of making a second run at the 200. So overall, again, I'm very, very much worried. I'm very much seeing 1100 as a target more than 11.5. And again, just be careful with tech. That's pretty much the story. So look, on this weekly chart now that we're on, I mean, sorry, I wanted to zoom out for a reason. We have not crossed the 50 just as long as we have not crossed the 200 on the daily, right? So again, if you're going to break it for the first time, I need good confirmation, right? I hope you knew I was about to say that too. But not only did we get bad confirmation, it looks like we're pretty much at or under 50% candle, right? That nice week, we basically gave away half of it, right? And that's sad, right? So again, we've now gotten over the 200 with confirmation. Are we going to use this 200 as the bounce? I don't know. I really, really don't. But I could see us using one of these two as the bounce, and that goes back to that 1100 that we were talking about on the daily, right? So, yeah, all things aside, again, I'm still going to be a little pessimistic going into next week, but I don't think I'm super, super pessimistic for the rest of the month unless we do get a couple bad weeks in a row. And obviously we'll be towards the end of the month by then, right? So look, just real quickly looking at the monthly, right? Again, monthly wanted to fly, right? Obviously we hit that on the daily, we saw it, but it's slowly coming back down, and that's not what I want to see, right? And it would really suck if we do come to the 1100, right? But again, that hopefully will happen in the coming weeks. And hey, maybe the last end of the week can bring it back up. If we can close over 11,225 will literally be a couple dollars over the 50 on the weekly, and hey, I'll take it, right? I'm unfortunately no longer believing that that two-line break was real. I'm just kind of hoping let's hold 50% of this candle on the monthly, right? So that is kind of where I'm at here. But yeah, I think that's a good view of NASDAQ. Let me quickly look at QQQ, and then that should be it here. All right, QQQ. Okay, beautiful. Again, QQQ is the ETF equivalent of NASDAQ, right? Again, NASDAQ is expensive, so it's easier to buy QQQ. And what I really care about is, hey, make sure as I go between them, they look the same, right? I'm not going to repeat the exact same words because obviously it's the exact same thing, exact same Doji, all that sort of noise, right? So let's look at the weekly real quick. Again, same break of the 50, same long time, right? So good. The fact that they're doing and showing the same thing is definitely important to me, right? So again, a lot to be worried about, but just cannot fall out of the moving averages. All right, that's the very, very last thing we want to do on either QQQ or NASDAQ. Hey, coming to the bottom will suck, don't get me wrong, but I'd rather be in it than under it. That is for sure. So, hey, I hope you're learning. Again, if you disagree with anything, throw it in the comments. I'm not here to pretend I'm perfect, but appreciate your time and more videos are coming.